In this video I'm going to talk about the basic fundamentals of shooting a handgun. First up is the stance. There's two primary types of stance. First one is the Weaver stance, where your strong arm side leg slightly behind your weak side leg, roughly shoulders width apart. Your strong arm is basically fully extended with your weak arm bent. Looks something like this. Second up, and the one I prefer, is the isosceles stance. Feet, knees, hips, and shoulders square to your target, both arms fully extended. Looks something like this. Now in both these stances you want to be leaning slightly forward with your knees very slightly bent. If you bend your knees too much, for me it's very uncomfortable, and I find that most other folks I talk to it's very uncomfortable with them as well. So slightly forward, knees very slightly bent. Just pretty much not locked, slightly bent, lean forward. You want a pretty stable platform so you can absorb the recoil of the gun. Next up is your grip. When gripping a handgun, you want as high up as possible on the back strap. You want to wrap around just like this. You want to be as high as possible without getting slide bite. The slide should work without touching your hand. You want a good firm grip. I use the thumbs forward grip. Come in with my weak hand. I put the knuckle of my strong hand right here in my weak hand where my fingers join my hand. Put my knuckles right there. Wrap around, and you want this part of your palm making contact with your handgun. You want as much possible contact with your grip as possible. I rest my weak thumb on the frame, my strong hand thumb right here on my other hand. Looks something like this. Just be sure when doing this that your strong hand thumb is not hitting your slide catch, so that could cause malfunctions. Also make sure your weak side thumb or any part of your hand is not making any contact with the slide. Next up is your sight picture. You want the top of your front sight post level with the top of your rear sight. You want it perfectly centered in the notch in your rear sight with equal amount of light on both sides. Now I'll demonstrate. If I was wanting to place a shot in the center of that bottom circle, it would look something like this. Alright, next up, and probably one of the most important, is trigger control. You want to take the pad of your trigger finger, place it on the lower portion of the trigger, but you do not want to be touching the guard. And what this does, the lower you are down on the trigger, it'll give you just a little bit lighter pull than if you were up here at the top. Kind of like a pry bar. The longer the pry bar, the easier it is, right? Lighter the pull means better shooting for most folks. I like to keep my finger square with a gun, and this will vary depending on your hand size, length of your fingers, grip size. A lot of variables come into play, but this is what I like to do. And you want a good steady squeeze from the front to the rear. Just make sure you're pulling it. Just imagine yourself, your finger coming directly from the front of the barrel back to the center of your hand. Something like this. Alright, if you're still watching this video, more than likely you're interested in improving your shooting skills, your marksmanship. I just want to say that everything I said in this video will not work for everyone. Maybe the thumbs forward grip won't work for you. There's a lot of variables that come into play: grip size, excuse me, hand size, and a million other things. This is just what works for me. A couple things I do, since ammo prices are so high, I do a lot of dry fire practice. I just hang a target up in a safe area in my house, pointing in a safe direction just in case you was to have an accidental discharge. Of course, I always make sure your handgun is unloaded. I always leave the magazine out. Just put a target up, focus on your stance, your grip. Just pretend you was actually shooting a round off. And what you do is, when sighting on the target, when you touch that round off, focus on your front sight. If you watch that front sight close enough, you can almost tell where that bullet would have went. Maybe it's dipping low to the left or low to the right, maybe just to the left or just to the right. Just watch that front sight, and maybe do this for 10 minutes each night. Just really focus on the front sight, and you want to be able to squeeze that trigger without that sight moving off target any at all. And if you do this just a little bit every night, I think you'll really find that you'll really start to see your trigger control and sight picture improving pretty fast. Another thing I suggest doing is, next time you go out to shoot, if you have a high cap magazine, say your magazine holds 17 rounds, I see this quite often, people topping their gun off and just unloading it on a target at 7 yards. What I suggest or recommend do is maybe put 2 or 3 or 4 rounds in your gun at a time, and if you're used to shooting at 7 yards, back it up to 5. Just really focus, put a couple rounds in your guns, really focus on target, squeeze those shots off real slow. Besides running through 50 rounds in 10 minutes, make it take 30 minutes to shoot those 50 rounds. Shoot 4 or 5 rounds, bring your target back, observe what you're doing, and then adjust to try to fix whatever you're shooting off. Adjust to try to fix that, and you'll get a lot more out of your shooting if you do that, and you won't burn through as much ammo also. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. Shoot often, shoot straight, and hope you guys learned something from this. The main thing is practice, 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 and I'm still learning myself, but I hope what I told you guys will benefit y'all some in the future. Thanks for watching. We'll see y'all.